All right, welcome. Today we are diving deep into one of the most powerful and jam-packed images in the entire book of Revelation. We're talking about a single verse, but it is loaded with so much symbolism and prophecy. So let's get right into it and unpack what's going on.
So just let that image sink in for a second. You have this figure on a cloud, he's wearing a crown, and he's holding a sickle. It's majestic, for sure, but also a little mysterious. And you got to admit, it brings up a pretty fascinating question, right?
I mean, it almost sounds like a contradiction. The symbol of ultimate royalty mixed with the tool of a simple farmer. But here's the thing. Every single piece of this vision, every word, is there for a reason. So we're going to break it down piece by piece and uncover the incredible message hidden right in plain sight.
And here's how we're going to do it. First, we'll set the stage. Then we'll decode the scene by looking at some key words in the original Greek. After that, we'll figure out who this Son of Man really is, analyze the two powerful symbols he holds, and then we'll put it all back together to see the big picture.
Okay, so first things first, let's get some context. This verse doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. It actually kicks off a brand new visionary scene, right after the messages of three angels, and it's all about setting the stage for a great cosmic harvest.
You know, to really get the sheer power of this opening line, we've got to look at the original Greek. The author, John, uses these very specific words that act like linguistic clues, signaling to us that what he's about to describe is a direct, totally awe-inspiring revelation.
The verse starts with the word eidon. This is John basically saying, listen up, this is my personal testimony. He's not just telling a story he heard, he's saying, I was there. I saw this with my own two eyes. It makes the vision feel so immediate and so powerful because he's a direct witness.
And right after that, bam, he hits us with the word Eido. You can basically think of this as a giant spiritual exclamation point. It means behold or look. John is practically grabbing us and saying, you have to pay attention, you won't believe what I'm seeing. It's a signal that something sudden and totally unexpected is happening.
And what does he see? A nephileia leuke, a white cloud. But here's the cool part. The Greek word for white here, leukos, isn't just about color, it's about brightness, this shining, radiant light. So this isn't some fluffy, ordinary cloud. It's a symbol of purity, of victory, and of divine glory. And this is a huge deal, because it taps into this powerful symbol you see all through the Bible. This glorious white cloud represents the very presence of God himself. We see it way back in Exodus when God's glory fills the tabernacle, and we see it again at the transfiguration of Jesus. Its presence here is a dead giveaway that this is a divine, glorious event. All right, so the stage is set. It's this divine, glorious scene. Now let's talk about the main event, the figure sitting on that cloud who is described with one of the most important titles in the entire Bible.
Now, the text says John saw someone like a son of man. And trust me, that is not some random, generic description. That phrase, homoios hion anthropou, is a direct, unmistakable, and incredibly deliberate callback to a massive prophecy from the Old Testament. And here it is. This is the key, the piece that unlocks the whole puzzle. Hundreds and hundreds of years earlier, the prophet Daniel had a vision of this exact same figure, one like the Son of Man, coming on the clouds of heaven to receive everlasting authority and glory. John is basically pointing a giant neon sign back to this prophecy.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that this figure is without a doubt the glorified Jesus Christ. He is the fulfillment of Daniel's vision. The one who was God in the flesh is now shown in his full exalted glory. And get this, he is sitting. The Greek word is kathenemonos. That posture signifies authority, that his work is complete, and that he is in the position of judge.
Okay, so we know who this is. Now let's zoom in on the two items he has that really define his purpose in this vision. That golden crown on his head and the sharp sickle in his hand.
And these two symbols, they're like two sides of the same coin, but they tell a complete story. The crown is all about his status, what he has already accomplished. It's about kingship and victory. But the sickle, that represents his mission, the action he is about to take, the harvest and judgment. One looks back to victory already won. The other looks forward to the job that's about to be done.
And again, the original Greek is so important here. The word for crown is stephanos. Now this is not a diadema, which is like a king's royal crown. No, a stephanos is a victor's wreath. It's the kind of crown you give to a conquering general or the champion of the ancient Olympic Games.
So this crown, this Stephanos, it's a symbol that the biggest battle has already been won. It represents his complete and total victory over sin and death. It's the royal seal on his finished work, crowning him King of Kings, because he is the ultimate conqueror.
And then, in his other hand, you've got this drepon oxys, a sharp sickle. The word for sharp, oxys, also gives us this sense of being keen or swift. This is no rusty old farm tool, okay? This thing is honed, it's ready, it's built for a very specific and immediate purpose.
So what's it for? Well, it represents the authority to reap the great harvest of souls at the end of time. And our sources point out this is about gathering his people, the very harvest that he died for. And that sharpness? It tells you the time is now, and the action will be swift and absolutely decisive.
All right, we've taken apart the language, we've identified the main figure, and we've decoded the symbols. Now let's put all the pieces back together and see the incredible, powerful picture this one verse really paints.
So when you boil it all down, you get this four-part masterpiece. First, John sets the scene with a divine vision on a glorious white cloud. Second, on that cloud sits the exalted Christ, the Son of Man from Daniel's prophecy. Third, his golden victor's crown shows he's already won the ultimate battle over sin and death. And fourth, that sharp sickle proves he's now ready to act and reap the harvest of his people.
So with all that in mind, let's read the verse one more time. It's not just a weird, random image anymore, is it? You can see the whole story in one sentence. The victorious king, sitting in glory, now poised and ready to act as the divine reaper.
And that really leaves us with something to chew on, doesn't it? This vision perfectly marries the authority of a king with the work of a harvester. It's a picture of divine purpose, not just raw power. So what does that combination really tell us about the ultimate nature of judgment and of salvation? Thanks for digging into this with us today.